Hi, happy Thursday. So today's Thursday, January the 21st. So today was day 21 of my Proverbs Wisdom Challenge, and it is also a day that I've been thinking about what I want to do with a couple of choices in my life, including moving. So I live by the ocean, and I like living by the ocean. I chose it intentionally because I feel like I'm a water baby and I feel like the ocean is my happy place. And so, now that I'm thinking about moving, I have to decide, do I want to stay local? Do I want to just stay here? That's the easiest thing, right? My rent's going to go up. It's going to go up noticeably, but not so much that I couldn't hang. But the question is, do I want to hang? Or do I want to use this as an opportunity to maybe make a choice that will benefit me more, right? So I have to think about it because I want to give notice if I do move, and I have to get my mind right for all of the packing, cleaning, and all the things that go with moving. Oh my gosh. But I'm looking at a couple of opportunities to be closer to business things that I'm working on and that too. So that might play a little bit into it. But the ocean though, if I leave the ocean area, how will I feel? Because that's been like my, I guess, like peaceful space. And I think that's kind of also like when I travel, I want to be somewhere that's warm and oceany. I think a lot of people do, but some people want to go to mountains or the snow or the lake. Lakes are good too. Just bodies of water. But I think the ocean in particular, the salt water, and the vastness of it kind of makes you thoughtful, appreciative, all the things, right? So I was having all these thoughts, and then I came across a Instagram video, and the woman that was talking about all of these properties of the ocean. Because I actually took notes. I've been taking more notes lately, and like journaling more, and just trying to be more mindful in general. And so much of what she was saying resonated with me that I felt like I really wanted to take note and think about it. So, okay, here's my notes. And she said, specifically, seawater changes the state of the body. That is true. And that's the same as like concept of those. Have you seen those spa places where you go float and they load it up with a bunch of seawater at the bottom, and you kind of get in the capsule and you just float, and it kind of, I think they also do some like sensory deprivation along with it. But it's not just a sensory deprivation that has the effect, it's the salt water. And so I'll tell you a little bit more about why. But anyway, so it does relax you intentionally. God's good about those things. It does do a reset and a reprogram for your brain. So they're trying to recreate if you go to these float kind of places, that effect. The salt water shuts down your stress responses, and it activates your negative ions in your body, and your nervous system. So it helps your nervous system to drop out of like fight or flight if you're like having a lot of anxiety or just super stress, right? So that's always good if you can get out of fight or flight. It's healthier for you, lower cortisol, all those things. Okay, so when the salt water hits your skin, it also affects your heart rate. It relaxes your muscles. It allows you to breathe deeper, more intentionally. And the peace that you start to feel when you're at the ocean, or you put your feet in the water, you put your body in the water, is actually a biological reaction. And I love that for me. I love that for you. But it explains so much why I've always felt like a water baby. Like I felt drawn to the ocean my whole life. And so, what else did she say? The salt minerals pull out your emotional tension. And it works because the minerals include magnesium, which, you know, how many supplements have magnesium to help you to relax, right? It has potassium and trace minerals that help do the same things. So it's a natural way to get that magnesium and potassium, etc. And it helps you not just release some stress, but like the emotions that you've been holding. It's sort of, she described it as, and this was from research that other people had done as well, but this is what she was quoting. And I did my own research too, and it matches that. It's kind of like what she said, the opposite of burnout. So like those of us who do too much, give too much, work too much, say yes too much, and have feelings of burnout sometimes, then, you know, having your moment in the seawater can help you to woosah a little bit. So for example, when I was in Hawaii 2 weeks ago, and I already want to go back, oh my gosh, I didn't get in the ocean as much as I wanted to, but I made sure that before the last day, I put on my swimsuit and got in that water. And I got up to, you know, maybe here in the water, and you have to kind of be a little careful if you're not ready to just swim in the ocean. And I can swim, but I didn't feel like getting pulled out. The currents can be, you know, one way or the other, of course. That's how the ocean works, right? But the sand can drop off pretty steep sometimes. I've noticed there in Hawaii anyway. And so I got to a point where I felt comfortable, and I just kind of let the water wash over me. It was warm enough. The sun was out, and that's the other thing too, right? It's not just the ocean, but it's the whole vibe around, right? So do you then take in the extra vitamin C and vitamin D from the sun? Do you, you know, take the time to feel the sensory feeling of the water washing over you, right? Like, what does that feel like? Not just the fact that you're taking in the salt water, the minerals, and all of those things. Do you stop and just wonder at how like magnificent the world is, how beautiful it is, and how like small we are, or by extension, how small our problems, our issues of the day could be, even though they can be really big and really heavy. But, you know, in perspective of the whole world and everything else that's going on, as wild as things are here right now, I mean, we're not, if you can get to the ocean and stand there and just breathe and woosah, you're doing pretty good for the day. I'll just leave it at that. But some more specifics that I want to share with you. So the salt water helps, besides releasing your emotional pain, it can cause you to go into a blue mind state, where, like I said, that's the kind of opposite of the burnout feelings. But it's the sound of the waves, it's the movement of the water. That's kind of what I was saying, like feeling the feeling of the water washing over you. And then the visual horizon of, you know, the sun, whether it's rising, setting, or just up there, helps to shut down feelings of overthinking. So I don't know about you, but for me, sometimes it's really hard to shut my brain down or slow my brain down. Like, I want to sleep sometimes and I'll be asleep, but for me in particular, I don't know if this is a common thing or not. I don't think it's that common. I'm always aware when I'm dreaming. I already know that I know I'm asleep. I know I'm in a dream. And frequently my dreams will turn into stress dreams. And it involves sometimes me solving problems. Not like math problems, but like, you know, issues or whatever problems. And so then maybe you solve one problem, it's like another one gets thrown in front of you, or another one gets thrown in front of you. Or you may dream about the last things you saw on TV or read, you know, when you were doom scrolling or whatever it is. But I'm always aware that I'm dreaming, and I can usually manipulate my dreams. if I don't like the direction it's going. So it's almost like it's playing like a movie and you're like, nope, nope, we're not doing that. And I can wake myself up from it if I don't like where it's going and I'm not gonna fight hard enough to change it. But that's stressful too, right? And if you want to have, that sweet sleep, that restful sleep, sometimes you've got to think about your sleep hygiene and all that stuff. And sometimes I think about the ocean. Sometimes I look out at the ocean. I'm close enough to do that. But one of the reasons it would make me consider moving is it can be noisy out there. You'd think it would be super calm and peaceful. Maybe if I was in a higher rent district, it would be. Not that I'm not paying a mortgage and rent, but there's people outside hooting and hollering sometimes, or just whatever the sounds may be. And so, since, as you heard, sometimes I'm like the princess in the pea trying to sleep, I'm thinking maybe if I move somewhere that's a little more quiet, that might be better for that purpose. But I'd miss the ocean. I'd have to be more intentional about getting back out there on a more regular basis to have all of those feelings that we were talking about. The boost of oxytocin that comes with it. It increases your feelings of warmth, the ocean, being in the salt water. It increases your clarity. It increases your intuition. That's a lot of things. That's kind of deep, right? And kind of basically restores your sense of scale and your soul in a lot of ways. It expands your perspective. And so I feel like what the woman that I was watching that Instagram post said was really true, and I already knew this about myself. It's like, it's medicine, right? It's a lot of what people go on vacation for. It's not just a change of scenery to get away. You're looking for that air, that wind, those waves, that wash of emotion, or the wash away of emotion, the change in perspective. And so, yeah, I think I'm gonna have to be real intentional about if I move, that I find a place that gives me whatever vibe I need, so that when I come home, it still feels beautiful, right? We talk about adding beauty to your life, adding peace, adding calm. And I was very intentional about moving here for those reasons. But some things in my life are changing, and they're good changes, right? I'm doing this as a change, and I'm working on some other projects that I really want to see through to the end. And I may need to be closer to where I can get that done. So we'll see how it goes. I'll keep you posted, and maybe I'll get lucky and find a place by the ocean where I need to be. I hope that you live somewhere that makes you feel peaceful when you come home, your surroundings, if it's a comfy couch or chair, or your fluffy pillow, or your woolly blanket, or whatever it is. And do you have your routine together that, you come home, you change your clothes, or you take them off, or whatever it is? Do you have your cup of tea? Do you have your glass of wine? Like, what's your wind down routine? And do you actually take those intentional breaths, kind of like breathe in and hold it? And let it out. And feel how that calms your nerves, how that calms your brain. Like, what are you doing for you, seriously? Because it's hard out here. Don't forget yourself. And do remember to check in with me tomorrow. I'll check in with you too. We'll keep adding beauty. We'll keep working on making sure we keep our peace, that we remember our value, ourselves, who we are, what makes us happy. There was some, that whole campaign of sipping tea and minding your business. Some of that. I mean, pay attention to what's going on, because you need to know, but put it in perspective of what you can actually affect, and allow yourself permission to prioritize yourself and be happy. And if you feel so moved, like, subscribe, and come hang out with me. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow.